We used to be in love. Yeah, she was my girlfriend, only she doesn't remember it because it wasn't her. Because her dad threw her off a magic cliff and she died, and then I lost my temper and nearly destroyed half the universe. And she came back. Well, you can point to stories that have been told in cinema regarding profound loss, death. You lose somebody and you have to learn to move on or not. And there's a number of great stories that have been told in that way, but rarely or never, in as far as I know, has there been a story of someone who's mourning the death of somebody while looking directly into the eyes of the person that they're mourning the death of. And what complicates that is because the person is not literally dead, there's hope. And it's hard to move on if there's the hope that maybe she could come back into the fold, that maybe she could learn to love Peter again, that maybe we could create this amazing shared experience that would allow us to fall in love again. And you learn through the course of this film what you learn, of course, about that. And that's what makes it interesting to me is because of what happened, the events of Avengers, we're presented with the opportunity to explain and to explore that story. It's heightened in its reality. It's truly sci-fi. What if that were to happen? What if the person who you loved died and came back a different person who didn't know you? What would it look like? How broken would you be? How much pain would be there? What would you miss about them? What would you hope? What would, especially if the love is she was saved by our love just as much as I was. And so that's really special, beautiful, painful.
It was fun. It was fun to get into sort of like the meat of that relationship, and Chris had mentioned in earlier interviews that it's difficult. It's difficult to come back a third time and revamp something or freshen it up, when it's always been sort of like a little bit of the same. By Gamora being of another multiverse, it gave James Gunn the opportunity to start their journey from a different zero, a different beginning. And she doesn't remember anything because she lived through nothing of that sort. But she has this feeling, and that's very confusing for her. And so it was really fun to get into that.
Amazing. I feel so grateful that I get this character that's just gone on such an emotional evolution. I mean, the first time we met her, she was this bitter, twisted, angry person that we actually didn't really like in the first film. And then we gradually kind of empathized with her and realized, oh, you're coming from this perspective. And we started to like her more. And now that Thanos, her father, has sort of been eliminated from her life, she is able to kind of become the person that she should have been with, the ability to accept love and feel like she's worth loving and show other people love. And so it's been an amazing evolution. There's
so
nothing
cool.
cooler than shooting those scenes. They blast the rock music, you walk in line and they're filming you, and it's like, oh, we're never gonna be cooler than we are in this moment.
That's so cool, yeah, I want to be.
Well, I've always thought that Rocket is at the center of our story. I think that the story is Rocket's story, and this is all about Rocket from the beginning. And I think we see why in this movie and where he's going and where he came from and how he affects the rest of the characters. And so it just was what I thought of Rocket. He was the one that got me into this from the very beginning when I first decided to do this. This project, it seemed goofy to me at first, and then I thought, okay, well, if there's a raccoon that's talking and walking around, how did it come to be? And as I started to think about that, I thought it was a very, very sad, heartbreaking story about where he came from, how he was turned into something he wasn't supposed to be, and so that's what really got me into the series to begin with.
Yeah, that's great.
I feel like bittersweet is always going to be the theme when it comes to like the bow that I'm going to seal this whole Guardians of the Galaxy experience in my life. It has been a sweet journey. The fact that we were able to come back again, not just for 3 Guardians movie, but for also 2 more Avengers movies, and for you guys there are more experiences as the Guardians. It always felt like a true gift that keeps on giving. Bitter because it's coming to an end, but I really feel grateful that James Gunn wrote the best Guardians of the Galaxy movie as the third and final chapter of their journey. So it was a lot of fun getting into that Gamora. But I also miss pieces of Gamora as the Guardian. But I knew that my job was not to get in the way of who she was. So I really kept convincing myself that I was playing a brand new character.